What's up, guys? I was thinking about Star Wars, about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Episode 3. And I want to hear not only Cosmic Wonder's point of view, but I want to hear from this man right here who's been carrying a pretty good episodes of Star Wars fan-made films. And his channel's name is called Star Wars Theory. And this title is Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3 Breakdown Vader. You don't know the power of the dark side. So I want to see, his take on Episode 3. But before we check this video out, don't forget to subscribe for more videos. I upload every single day, so you never know what you are missing. So smash that subscribe button, goddammit. Smash it. Thank you. Now, we shall continue. He does pretty good. I seen his
Hey
fan
everyone,
made.
welcome back to another Kenobi breakdown.
I seen his fan made film.
There was a lot
It's
that
pretty
happened
fucking
in this
good.
episode. Of
It's
course,
a lot better than half of the damn
this one, of course,
Star Wars
spoilers,
series.
had Vader in it, and he fought Obi-Wan. There's a lot I had to say about it during the watch party, which was 4 hours long. Thanks to everyone who showed up. Over 18,000 of you live.
Make sure you guys go ahead and check him out.
Star Wars community.
I'll leave it on the description below, so you guys can go ahead and check him out. He does pretty good fan
just debating
really
everything
does.
as well. I'm going to be making a lot of videos on this episode because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. So let's get right into it. Kenobi is once again reaching out to Qui-Gon Jinn, his old master.
Right.
I guess in these 10 years, he hasn't been able to reach him at all.
No.
So Yoda's training hasn't been going too well, I suppose. As he hears voices of the past, like Yoda telling him only pain will you find, which he heard in Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, when he was looking at the hologram of Vader fighting other Jedi.
Vader or
Order 66.
then
We hear
Anakin.
Qui-Gon's plea to train Anakin, reverberations of Anakin on Mustafar, where we start to see glimpses of Vader being put together now, really connecting the fact
That was pretty
Anakin
cool, man.
and
That
Vader
was
are
pretty
now the
fucking
same
cool.
person physically. Obi-Wan can feel Darth Vader and tells Qui-Gon he is coming, Master. As Vader walks out of his chamber, which looks like the same one from Rogue One, we get a beautiful shot of Mustafar and his castle. For those new to Star Wars, this is the same place where he fought Obi-Wan Kenobi and
That was
lost,
pretty badass.
burning
I like the
alive.
shot.
This is also where in the comics he opened
Right.
a portal beneath
That was
the
the same
castle
planet
to bring back his
where
dead wife,
Anakin
Padme,
and Obi-Wan
which of course
fought.
didn't work out as
Before
planned.
Anakin
Check out
turned
the
into
Marvel
Vader.
Darth Vader comics and Darth Momin for more about that. I have plenty of videos on it. If you also notice, the tip of Vader's castle is shaped like a tuning fork. This was to signal something in the galaxy, and I remember during the sequel trilogy this was something many of us were contemplating when Rogue One came out. Who was he trying to reach? What was he trying to do? Why was it shaped like this? Now Mustafar is a perfect force nexus of the dark side. This is why Palpatine wanted Vader to go there, and it allowed him to really harbor his emotions, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment when he looks out of his window. And I'm going to talk about what he was exactly looking at, or at least what I think. Vader sits atop his obsidian throne as he orders Reva around the hologram. Where is he? He says. And we hear this in the James Earl Jones iconic voice. Now I feel this could be perfected with some audio engineering, like how they did Luke Skywalker's voice, in The Mandalorian being completely computer generated.
Right.
He tells her that Kenobi is all that matters, not the Grand Inquisitor. So Reva has told everyone, including Vader, that the Grand Inquisitor was killed by Kenobi, to which of course Vader will realize that this is impossible once he fights Kenobi and sees that, well, he's quite pathetic. He explains that he knows what she wants, to be the Grand Inquisitor. And if Reva brings Vader Kenobi, he will award her the promotion, the title.
Right.
This is almost like Anakin getting the rank of Master. Now if she fails, he will terminate her. So Vader has definitely given the go-ahead to the Empire to track Kenobi down and notify him once they have him in near sight.
Right.
Vader ends communication and gets up like a robot, his lightsaber hanging from his belt, emitter side up, and we can see the lightsaber has actually been changed to the A New Hope version with the bubble strip, not the Revenge of the Sith one. 10 years has passed, so he has definitely altered some things. He stands by the window as he peers out to what I think is a direct connection to the books, where he's looking out at the riverbank where he burned. Now, he often did this as it fueled his rage and kept him strong. Palpatine encouraged it. The Sith relished
it fuels
in
his
it,
anger
and
even
it
more
made
every
them
time
war.
he stares.
In the
Every
book,
time he
Dark
stares
Lord,
at
The
it,
Rise
he
of
looks
Darth
at
Vader.
the, you know,
Vader
where
actually
he
did this
landed.
quite a bit. He would look out at the same spot that he burned from Obi-Wan
That makes sense.
and remembered his past. And he built his castle very close to that spot for this reason, to always be reminded and to always
So
be
he could,
in
so it
pain
could
and
feel
anger.
his
Kenobi and
anger.
Leia head to Mapuzo as
Yo,
they asked Obi-Wan to use the
anger.
Force to make the ship go faster. He says that's not how it works, and I feel like this was sort of a nod to Han Solo saying it in The Force Awakens as the audience watching, or, well, at least it made me think of that. Now, one of the most beautiful lines of this series so far is Leia asking what the Force feels like, where Master Kenobi tells her that it's the same feeling as when being afraid of the dark, and then you turn on the light. You feel safe, basically meaning that everything is clear, except, of course, that whole part in the prequels where, you know, the Jedi were blindsided by the Sith. As they land on Mapuzo, a mining system, we see a lifter droid and an R5 unit. Now, R5 was the droid in A New Hope that had the bad motivator, which was replaced by R2-D2 to Luke Skywalker and Uncle Owen. Now, this isn't the same R5 unit, it's just
then he blow up,
R5
and then he
unit.
blow up.
Leia questions Obi-Wan on why Haja would lie to him about finding help on this world. And so Obi-Wan snaps at her, saying that not everyone is good. Now, this to me is the new state of Obi-Wan. I feel like this really is the hurt Obi-Wan Kenobi from the events of Order 66 and Anakin's turn, where he's been betrayed by the person that was the closest to him. So trusting some random new acquaintance, a thief really, is quite impossible. And he has to sort of let Leia know this, that not everybody has good intentions. This also shows how trusting
But you know what? This is all Qui-Gon and
pure
Obi-Wan's fault.
that
Well, mainly
obviously
Qui-Gon's
eventually
fault.
we'll see in the
If they
original
had not
trilogy.
listened to Master
Very much
Windu
like Padme.
and
As
Yoda,
Obi-Wan looks out into the distance,
we wouldn't have
he
Anakin.
sees Darkseid
We wouldn't have
Anakin
Anakin in this
robes
movie.
glaring
Nor
at
he would have
him.
been a Jedi.
This is the
Nor he would
first
have
time
been
that we
Darth
see
Vader.
Anakin played by Hayden Christensen in anything since Revenge of the Sith.
Oh
I had to do
yeah,
a double take.
I didn't know who
couldn't
that was.
believe it
I was like,
him.
who the
I
hell
can only
was
imagine what flashbacks of Anakin will be like in this show. Hopefully we get them. I feel like we will. Now, of course, Kenobi is hallucinating. That or Vader's presence is nearing, and Obi-Wan is feeling it very fast. Reva lands at the Inquisitor HQ, which is
So
on
he
the
was
moon
imagining
of
that that was
Mur.
Anakin
Now,
Skywalker.
this stronghold,
I didn't know who.
known
At
as
first,
the
I really
Fortress
didn't know who it was. I
Inquisitorius,
was like, oh,
was a place where
he
the
just
Empire
pointed
brought
out that it was
force sensitives
Anakin.
of all ages to be
That's-
turned to the dark side through horrible means.
Talk about playing mind
Now,
games.
not all of them would be turned to the dark side. The ones who wouldn't would, of course, be discarded, or, well, other things would happen to them. My theory is that Palpatine ran tests on them, maybe for his cloning facility, maybe for his own experiments, who knows. Now, she walks into the room with the fifth brother and the fourth sister as she orders them to fire probe droids, when the fifth brother makes her almost faceplant onto the table with the Force, showing his immense powers over her. Now, clearly Reva isn't as strong as him, however she is gifted in her abilities, one of which we know is reading minds and mind probing. They eventually launch probes after a power struggle, where the fifth Inquisitor tells her that he's next in line to be the Grand Inquisitor. So clearly they're all kind of just fighting for the same spot. They all just want to be promoted. Now, what intrigued me here was when he
both
walked
want to get to the
out, as
top.
he told her that he
There's
hopes
a lot
he
of
gets what he
jealousy
deserves,
in
and
this
he hopes
place.
she does too. Where she silently says, "Me too, me too," and she looks like she's really pondering the
Although,
situation.
tell you the
and
truth,
outcome.
she's not
Now, the first thing
really.
here that I notice is that this is a very firm
I would
certain
see her
point
as
of
a
view
threat.
aspect,
Like
which,
Darth Vader.
funny enough, it is the Kenobi show. You know, from
Not
the
actually,
fifth
neither
brother's
one
point
of them.
view,
To
he's
me,
looking at it
like
from
they don't
his
feel,
best
they don't look
interest.
scared.
And from Reva's point of view, she's looking
just
at
don't.
it from her best interest, which both are polar opposites of each other. Now, clearly Reva has motive to be Grand Inquisitor. I don't know what that motive is. She's not a Vader fanboy, I don't think. I think she just wants to be the leader of the Inquisitors for whatever reason. I think she wants that power, she wants that revenge on someone. It could be Vader, it could be Obi-Wan Kenobi, it could be maybe someone else that we haven't met yet. Maybe it's Quinlan Vos. Maybe Quinlan Vos brought her in and she felt abandoned by him. And we're eventually going to get to that, but of course if you've watched the episode, you know Quinlan's still around, which is great. Kenobi and Leia get picked up by an Imperial freight driver who I think is Seth Rogen. He buys Leia's story about being lost in the desert with her father, Obi-Wan, and I think this really builds on just how quick Leia is on her feet. She really does what she wants, and it's very reminiscent of Leia. They pick up stormtroopers on the way, and it's a very tense moment.
Yeah.
I really love this scene.
I didn't think about it.
Really fun.
I didn't think about
they
that
make small talk on the vehicle, and it's
mind
revealed
you,
they're
the
looking
Return
for a
of the
Jedi on the
Jedi,
planet.
and who Princess
Kenobi
Leia
slips
was
up and calls Leia by her name instead of the fake alias that they made up, Luma. This is not very fitting for Obi-Wan Kenobi. But we must remember, and this is the point, this is a perfect example of a very rusty Obi-Wan. He's been out of the game for a decade. He's not as stealthy as he used to be.
Right.
He looks at Leia and tells everyone that she reminds him of her mother, and that they all miss her very much. Once the troopers leave, Leia finally realizes that Obi-Wan knew her mother and asks if he's her real father. He says he wishes, which confirms that he had a thing for Padme all along. See, I told you. Interesting. As she talks about wondering what her dad was like, this was, of course, a very emotional and touchy scene. It's a very heavy scene.
Yeah, I think for Padme, he thought of busted nuts inside of Padme.
And how it's sad that Leia never got to know him. It makes me wonder just how the Skywalker kids would have turned out and been raised had their father been in their lives, and their mother. Like how Qui-Gon would have raised and trained Anakin properly had he not died to Darth Maul, avoiding everything that's going on in the galaxy now, most likely. We learn Obi-Wan were members of his family before the Jedi took him, so this is pretty cool. We learn that Obi-Wan actually had a family, and he's talking about it, including a brother. The Jedi would seek out Force-sensitive kids and take them from their families to be trained by the Jedi and fulfill their potential, serving the Force. He remembers his mother's shawl and his father's hands, as well as a baby, which was his brother, he thinks. So this is canon. Kenobi has a brother, and he's probably not Force-sensitive, because if he was, the Jedi would probably have taken him at the right age, or they left him there. Maybe he is Force-sensitive, but they figured Obi-Wan is more Force-sensitive, and taking his brother there would just complicate his emotions and form attachments. He speaks of then joining the Jedi and getting a new family, reminding us all of his service in the Clone Wars and all his fellow masters like Mace Windu, Yoda, Qui-Gon, and of course Anakin. We kind of understand that it's sort of sad, the lives of Jedi. You know, they're taken at such a young age.
Especially Anakin took out those kids.
Families. And of course, they're given new families, but for
absolutely
them, during the Clone Wars, they were just kind of thrust into this life of war. Jedi to be made generals.
What Vader did, or Anakin, whatever you want to call them.
Stops, and stormtroopers interrogate Obi-Wan.
That kid's neck
now,
around.
as they bring in a probe droid on him to scan Obi-Wan's face, Obi-Wan quickly opens fire with the blaster on his belt. His aim is impeccable as he destroys all the troopers and the droid.
Maybe I'm a big fan of
only
Vader,
to be rescued by an Imperial officer who clearly
I thought
is the
this was
friend
the
Haji was
Vader
meaning for them
that
to
we all
meet.
know.
She's posing as an officer, of course. The Inquisitors
as
are
big as it
notified
was,
of Obi-Wan destroying the droid, and Lord Vader was informed by the fifth brother, much to Reva's anger. So, Vader is well on his way, and I can only imagine his anger boiling as he heads to Mapuzo in his ship. Kenobi enters with Leia, and they meet a loader droid, who I think is actually Wrecker. He doesn't speak, meaning his voice is recognizable. He's posing as a loader, which means he has to be super strong. He's massive and tall, so I think it's Wrecker. That, or it's Rex. Or Quinlan Vos, but I doubt it. I think it's Wrecker. They enter a room that many Jedi have been in. This is a safe house called the Path. It all leads to Jibim, where they give Force sensitives that were captured by the Empire new identities and free them. As Leia asks what happens to those Force sensitives, it's revealed that no one sees them again. So I can say what happens to them is that the Empire takes them in and tries to convert them to the dark side through any means necessary.
Right.
As
I was thinking the same way.
Carvings on
if
the
they don't
walls
wait, I don't think they would have killed them because
we finally
it's like
get
an
canon
investment.
information that
Like
Quinlan
you can
is
use
alive.
them
My boy is still
to
around.
train him,
This is amazing.
train them
We
your
heard Quinlan
way.
forever. No one knew
That
if
way
he
they
lived
could be
or
on
died
your
from
side.
Order 66. Quinlan was a very, very powerful Jedi during the Clone Wars, where he helped Obi-Wan on many missions, and he had a unique ability shared with Cal Kestis called
savvy
psychometry,
in a way where
if he touched an object, he'd know where it's been and
you-
the people who handled it before
you look
him,
for people
mapping the
who you can
object's
hire,
memories.
so that way they
Quinlan
can be
turned to
on
the
your
dark side
team.
under Count Dooku,
And they
then
can
later
work
back
for
to the
you.
light, falling in love
Same
with
play
Asajj
as they,
Ventress, who was
I
Dooku's
believe,
apprentice.
as far as
In a final fight
Darth
with Dooku,
Vader,
Asajj threw herself in
or
front
the
of a
Dark
devastating
Order,
Sith
yes,
Force
Galactic
lightning
Empire
attack from
itself,
Dooku that was intended for Voss,
and
this saved Voss's
kidnapping
life,
those
but
kids so they
it
can,
fried Ventress in the process.
train them their
Voss was heartbroken,
make them as
and
bad
didn't
guys.
really know what happened to him after Order 66 until now, so this is great. So his job is that he smuggles Jedi that have been captured by the Empire and saves them from the Empire themselves. This is a very Quinlan thing to do. Always selfless and ever caring of others, especially the youth. I hope we see him in the show and get to learn more about him. Now, if you didn't know, fun fact, we actually get to see him in The Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan, Anakin, Jar Jar, and Padme, and Obi-Wan are walking through the desert in Mos Eisley. Just as Jar Jar gets assaulted by Sebulba, you can see Quinlan in the background.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan reads what Quinlan has written, and it says, "Only when the eyes are closed can you truly see the way." I think this means that when you drown out the surroundings, can you truly feel the Force and not be distracted? As stormtroopers enter and interrogate the loader, who I think is Wrecker, we see he's holding a hammer behind his back. Now, this is not a droid thing to do, more so a very human behavior. We also see a close-up of its legs. These look like clone trooper armor repainted and a little bit thicker. Again, could be Rex or Wrecker. As they leave, Kenobi senses Vader and runs to the window to look out. As they see the Inquisitors standing straight as the Dark Lord walks through the village with their heads down, he just picks people at random, Force chokes them, throws them in the air, cracks their necks, drags them through the dirt as they scream for their lives. I think this is Hayden Christensen in the suit. He just walks like him.
That's what you call Savage Vader,
directed by
aka
Chow, but I can tell this
Vader.
is Anakin's walk. I really hope this is Hayden in the suit, and I think it is, although it's not confirmed. Kenobi runs away, and he's stopped to see Vader in front of him, igniting his crimson red saber. Obi-Wan wants no part of this and runs away, finally igniting his saber as Vader tells him that he can't hide forever. We get the best line in the show, I think so far at least, where Kenobi says, "What have you become?" as he sees Vader for the first time, and Vader pauses and says, "I am what you made me." They fight, and it doesn't look good for Kenobi at all. Vader overpowers him, and he's literally toying with him. 10 years have led to this moment where Vader wants Kenobi to suffer. He's also extremely cautious, as in this 10 years, he's had time to reflect on everything, all of his failures, and realizes that his loss to Kenobi could have been avoided had he not been so arrogant and quick to make decisions. A failure that he's now going to pay for the rest of his life. Rageful Vader is learning about Kenobi. He's more tactful, he's more experienced, he's more composed and patient, but all the while building upon that rage and anger inside of him, waiting for the right time to really unleash. And also we have to realize that he doesn't want to kill Kenobi right away. He wants to torture him. He wants to play with him. He wants to make Kenobi
And I think that at the review, I said that at the review, I was like, it seemed like he didn't want to kill him. Like he wanted him to feel what he felt. And then somewhere they're going to take him away.
Obi-Wan drops his
and
lightsaber on the
then
ground,
Vader's going to try to convince Obi-Wan to join him.
With the Force,
that's what I felt.
Him
that's what I think would have happened.
Him back for how Obi-Wan left Anakin on Mustafar burning alive. Telling him this is only the beginning for the pain that he's about to feel.
Right.
Vader clearly wants Obi-Wan to die very slowly, only after suffering to Vader's enjoyment. Then, maybe Vader will take his life. That's why he didn't go all out. He's savoring the moment. He probably wants to find all of Kenobi's friends and kill them in front of him, playing with his food before he eats it.
Or he probably, kidnap, keep him in his ship or his place, ask him like a couple questions here and there, torture him, and then when he's through, he'll kill him in there.
Droid, who I think is Wrecker or Rex, and we see the flames in his lenses. I think this symbolizes rage and his past with Obi-Wan, the fires that burned him into who he is today. Now this for me was weird because I feel like Vader would just jump over the fire or walk through it, or just douse it out with the Force like he did a minute ago. That suit is pretty much invincible. You can be in space, you can be in the depths of water, in any pressure, you can be in the depths of lava even, as he's been in comics, and he is perfectly fine. It was designed to go anywhere and to pretty much do anything. For example, his cape is extremely epic in the sense that it's blaster repellent, it's fire retardant, and it can protect him. Obi-Wan is taken to safety as the Empire tries to find him again. His burns are very painful, so he's quite delirious. And Reva intercepts Leia and captures her. Or at least I think she's about to capture her. Unless we get another slow chase scene or something. So overall, I think the episode was really cool. I think it was really fun.
This was the best one
there were a few things that didn't really sell to me, such as Vader not going through the fire. I mean, maybe he wants Obi-Wan to suffer. Maybe he wants him to feel some fear that Vader's going to find him again. Just really prolonging the moment, savoring the moment. But I just feel like at this point, Vader would be so full of anger and rage that he would never let Obi-Wan leave his sight ever again. Especially not some flames to get in his way. Now, as for him being afraid of fire, well, he lives on fire. He built his castle on Mustafar, so
that's true.
I don't think that's a
Jeremy John said that.
Or excuse.
That's true.
Obviously, the episode
he would not have lived in Mustafar if he was afraid of fire. That's actually true.
Would have just been so much more badass. It would have really cemented the fact that Vader is not afraid of fire, and he's not as fragile as Anakin was, let's say. The music to me was a little bit off.
I wonder why he let go
like Star Wars
Obi-Wan.
music just yet. I'll go over
he
this in a
took
full
out
review, of course.
that
There
droid
were some
guy,
moments that we got some Star Wars
or human droid guy,
I feel like when Obi-Wan
and he could have
Vader
taken
were
out
fighting.
the woman.
However, for the rest of the
All on his
episode,
own.
we didn't fully have
Matter of fact,
the
the
same sort of
stormtroopers would
feel
have
that,
taken
let's say,
out
the Mandalorian
that
had
woman.
with the
And
music.
he would have
And I'm not really
destroyed
sure
the
why.
droid.
Other than that, I think everything was really cool, and I think it was an awesome
I think
episode.
like
It was great to see Vader
Theory
once again,
said,
finally.
he wanted
And
to
see him
continue
just
on
be so psychotic
torturing
and
Obi-Wan.
just dragging
Keep
people
playing those
through
mind
the
games with him.
sand
That's
and
what
soil
probably could happen.
was pretty cool.
I would have thought he
It
was
truly
finished by now.
screamed Vader is a very terrifying being, and he's truly sadistic now in the dark side.
Yeah,
And I
maybe
think
it is.
he scared the crap out of Obi-Wan. So going forwards, I think Obi-Wan will have to regroup. I think he's going to have to fight Vader again.
At some
Because
point.
right now, it breaks canon if this is the last time they fight, and I don't think it is. I think,
I don't think it is
definitely
either.
there's going to be another one. And Obi-Wan will probably have to overcome Vader in that next one, because if we remember in the A New Hope line, the last time we met, I was but the learner, but now I am the master. So clearly, this time Vader was the master, so the next time they fight, he's going to have to be the learner. Otherwise, it just wouldn't really make much sense.
Right.
Now, how is Obi-Wan going to basically get his powers back in 3 episodes? There could be a time jump, or there could be the fact that he fights Vader, he's losing, and Leia is threatened, and Qui-Gon Jinn comes to Obi-Wan as a Force ghost and sort of wakes him up. Or Obi-Wan goes to Dagobah and trains with Yoda and Qui-Gon and sort of
That could
realizes
happen.
that he is the
Those
last
two
hope
theories can
for
happen.
these children, for the galaxy. I think it would be really cool to see Yoda again.
Hell
I have tons
yeah.
of videos
I have
planned,
a
lots of
feeling
stuff
it
I wanna
won't,
talk about in
but I would
detail,
love to see
in specific
Yoda.
videos about certain
I
topics,
would love to see
including
Yoda.
Vader, Qui-Gon, Yoda, Obi-Wan in general, and of course I'll be doing episode reviews. That's also something I'd like to do as well. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed the breakdown. Thanks so much for joining the watch party. I'll see you guys next week for that one, and of course for the many videos coming this week. Stay tuned, and until then, remember, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends, the Force will be with you always.
Good job, Mr. Theory, Mr. Star Wars Theory. I don't know your actual name, but I'm just gonna put your channel name, Star Wars Theory. Interesting theories in this episode, and I didn't know about Darth Vader's suit, that he can walk through anything. Like it protects him from space, it protects him from fire. He can go through fire. He can go, he can go outside of space. Or you can go through, you can go inside the water, and he'd still be fine. It tells you right there, like, Vader is like, he has the ultimate protection on his, on his suit. I didn't even know about that. New to me. Those two things, what he said at the end, where either Qui-Gon is gonna be in his mind, and possibly like basically just motivate him to get back to his old self, or he goes to Dagobah and he gets help from Yoda to get his motivation back. Or another thing would be he does go back to Dagobah, meets with Yoda, and helps him again of how he can reach over Qui-Gon again. That can also happen too. I have a really bad feeling though we might not see Yoda in this Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but you never know. Tell you the truth, I would have loved to see Yoda and Obi-Wan, together once again. Yoda giving him some tips here and there, which it would make sense because Yoda taught Obi-Wan how to speak to Qui-Gon. So maybe like I said, Obi-Wan can go to Dagobah, meet up with Yoda, and Yoda can teach him again, or maybe, remind him of what he has learned, as far as reaching out to Qui-Gon. And, and Yoda can tell him more about Darth Vader and the dark side. So, we never know. I'm going to be checking out episode 5, which I believe is on Wednesday. So make sure you guys go ahead and, check that out on my review after I do, after I check out, the TV show episode, of course. But, I'm interested. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in, the rest of the rest of the episodes. I'm curious. I don't care to tell you the truth, to be quite honest with you. And I forgot the woman's name again. But the Inquisitor, those two Inquisitors, those two, and the last one. Honestly, they don't really seem like they don't seem like a threat. To tell you the truth, like they're not as sick and as twisted as Vader is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, like if Obi-Wan were to cross paths with either or, he could have, possibly, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he takes out one of them. You know what I mean? With Vader, though, again, that scene, man, when he was killing people in hand while he was trying to track down Obi-Wan, shows you how twisted, how evil, how much of a savage Darth Vader is. Jesus, man. And not to mention, let's not forget in Revenge of the Sith, where, before he was Vader, he was Anakin, and Anakin took out all the little kids, all the little Jedi kids, and the rest of the adult Jedis. I mean, he did everything that the Emperor asked him to do. Execute Order 66. Get it. Strike me down. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. And I didn't know that, I didn't know that was, I didn't realize it at first. When I first saw it, I was like, who the hell is that? But then, as Theory mentioned, that it was, it was reflection, it was Obi-Wan's reflection of Anakin. And I was like, I was like, wait, it's Anakin? That's what I was thinking of as, he was explaining it. I was like, holy shit, that is Anakin. Wow. I didn't even, well, that's somewhat surprising to me. But, yeah, man, so, what do you guys think of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series, episode 3? And, what do you think is going to happen on episode 4 through episode 6? Post it on the comments below. And if you enjoy my reaction, you can go ahead and hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, share, and make sure you guys click on notification bell so that way you guys can get more coming videos in the near future. And make sure you guys go ahead and check out Star Wars Theory. I'll leave it on the description below so you guys can go ahead and check him out. He does pretty good. He gets really deep into these Star Wars movies. And not to mention, of course, he does, he would do these fan-made films episode, which I love, to tell you the truth. To be honest with you, they're better than half of the damn Star Wars movies that we got right now. At least in my view, So make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. Like I said, I'll put it, I'll leave it on the link below so you guys can go ahead and check them out. And if there's any videos you guys want me to take a look at, always just leave it on the comment section down below. And yep, may the Force be with you.